All right. Hey, welcome everyone. So today I have with me Mr. Johnathan Royal Haggerty. So thanks so much for joining me today, Johnathan. But Johnathan and I met a couple weeks ago through LinkedIn, and he shared his story with me, and I found it very inspiring, and I wanted to share it with my audience. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Johnathan, and I would love for you to share your story of from when you were younger playing football and how you ended up in the NFL.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Nathan. It's a pleasure to be on, and hello everyone who's tuned in and who is going to tune in to see this. My name is Johnathan Royal Haggerty. I'm from Dallas, Texas, born and raised in Dallas. I love Dallas. Everyone who knows me knows that. And yeah, at a young age, I definitely wanted to play football at the next level. I remember vividly seeing the Dallas Cowboys when they were winning those championships. And, it just started out, within my heart. I said, I want to do that someday. And, coming from obscurity and the upbringing that I came from, it was kind of a real dream, because I felt like, this is what I want to do, but maybe this is a long shot, so maybe it's just a dream. But I really did want to achieve that. And,
So Johnathan, just real quick, so at what age did you first have that dream?
I would say I was around 10 or 11.
Wow. So you're never too young to start dreaming.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay. I just had that one question. You can go on with your story.
Okay. Yeah. So, when I got to middle school, actually before middle school, I won't give everyone all the details, because I'm definitely writing that book, but I'll give them some of the nuggets, along my journey. So in elementary, the first sport I actually tried out for was basketball, and I got cut. So didn't make the team, and that really kind of put me in a shell. And from that point, I actually didn't want to have anything to do with sports. And so later on, as I got to middle school, all my buddies are playing for the football team, and here I am in the ROTC. No disrespect to the ROTC, don't get it twisted. But I really wanted to play football, so looking at my friends play, it kind of ate me up inside. I really wanted to be out there. And so it wasn't until high school that I actually played for an organized team. So that was my first organized opportunity.
Okay, cool. So how many years was that between getting cut from basketball, kind of wanting to write off sports, and then playing football?
I would say 3 to 4 years.
Okay. So what were you doing during that time? What were you doing to occupy your time since you weren't playing sports?
Well, I was also in the choir, so I really excelled in the choir. A lot of people didn't know that about me. So I was in the performing choir in my middle school and high school, and we traveled and we won first place with everything that
Wow.
We did. Yeah, I even did the I even did the Wiz. So I was the Tin Man.
Oh, cool.
We off to see the Wizard of Oz, Yellow Brick Road, all that.
Wow, that's awesome. Do you still sing?
Yeah. I sing for therapy and just for the love of it. I wake up singing, sing in the shower, sing around the house as I'm
Oh, I
cleaning.
love it. What a great way to start your day. I tell you what, Johnathan, A lot of people are probably envious that you played in the NFL. I'm envious that you can sing because I would love to be able to sing. I just I don't have the voice, or I never kind of learned how to sing. But maybe at some point, maybe you'll give me lessons one day.
Yeah, man,
That's
for
super
sure.
cool though that you sing. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I've recorded some songs as well, but that's another conversation.
Okay, we'll talk about that next time. Okay, so you started playing football in high school. Then what happened?
Yeah, so I started playing football in high school, and it was nothing like I saw the Cowboys doing. Like
Okay,
it was night and day. That was not what I expected. It was rough, man. It was rough, but I wanted it so bad that I was willing to, stick it out, and I just had some raw abilities. Uh, but I needed those abilities coached and developed. And so by the time I got to the 10th grade, it was really, really tough for me, just the adjustment and being in high school, especially inner city, you have to earn your stripes, so to speak. And so, yeah, I dealt with a lot. And
so can you share a little bit about that?
yeah, there was, being made fun of, and for being the skinny kid, you know, uh, teased and things like
Mm.
that. And um, my receivers coach, he was a varsity's receivers coach. Well, I never will forget this. I was catching and doing good, and here I am, a freshman, and I was going against, there's a JV line, freshman line, and then there's the varsity line. Well, I was catching and doing good, and in the freshman line, and the varsity coach put me in the varsity line against the varsity defensive backs.
Oh, good
And
for you. That's awesome.
yeah. And so I was catching the ball and making plays. And he said it out loud. He said, if y'all keep playing, he said, Johnathan Haggerty is going to be on varsity. And so I think
So how did that feel being a freshman, being put on varsity?
it felt so good, and it felt bad too, because it felt good knowing that, someone is recognizing my talents and trying to come on the team and contribute, but
Yeah.
bad because it made me a marked man.
Mm.
And so it seemed like from then on, I was kind of like an outcast, and it was just rough. And so,
So you're this young kid. You're a freshman. You have a natural talent. You're really good at catching the ball. You get promoted to varsity, and one would think you would be celebrated, but instead, people were trying to keep you down. I guess there was. Would you say people were jealous of you? Was there
yeah, yeah,
jealousy involved?
yeah. So let me make a correction. I wasn't on varsity yet. It was a while to I was put on varsity. In fact,
Okay.
I wasn't put on varsity until my senior year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but he was telling them that, if y'all keep this up, I'm
Sorry.
sorry. He was telling them that if y'all keep this up, then he's definitely going to be on varsity. And so from then on, yeah, I think it was a bit of jealousy and, whatever it was. But like I say, for me, I wanted to come on and make a contribution. I wasn't really thinking about I'm the best receiver on the team or had any type of mindset like that, because again, this is my first year in pads, so I'm just trying to, showcase and get a spot on the team, right?
Right. Okay.
Um, but when you're in the inner city and everybody's trying to be that man on the team, it's like, yeah, you're a threat to everybody. And so
Yeah.
I just had to roll with the punches. And around the 10th grade, it was just tough all around, just with the bullying and being made fun of and things like that. Now, it wasn't bullying to the extent that people were like putting their hands on me or anything like that. But it was like, I guess you could say social bullying. Is that a word? You know,
So just
social.
people calling you names, being mean to
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
not roughhousing, but just
yeah,
being jerks to you, basically.
yeah. It's like, come on, man. And so I made up my mind that I was going to quit football, because it's like I came out here to, to have fun and to help make plays and help the team. But it's just like, it wasn't worth it for me at that point. I'm like, who wants to stay around an environment like this when, everything that I try is just like nothing is good enough. And so I
Hmm.
was just like, I'm cool with it. I'm over it. And so from there, an interesting encounter happened. Um, I was visiting my aunt before she passed away in Pleasant Grove, which is probably 15 minutes away.
Hmm.
And I was walking around the block, and on the next block, my freshman football coach was in his yard doing some yard work, and
Okay.
you know, I spoke to him, and he was like, surprised to see me and everything. And he's like, "You live around here?" I was like, "No, my aunt lives." And so we just started talking for probably about an hour and a half, and I let him know that I was going to quit football and never play again because
Mm.
it just wasn't for me. It wasn't what I thought. Is definitely not what I want. And so he looked at me and he was like, "No, you're not." And I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, I'm like, and he said, "You know why?" And I'm looking like, "Yeah, why?" Because I had already made up in my mind.
Right.
And so he said, number one, he said, "You're not a quitter." And I kind of like looked, and he's like, he said, and he said, "I guarantee you, you have something that a lot of those guys don't have out there." And I was, at this point, I'm like, is he trying to rah me? I'm like, okay, what? And so he said, those guys out there, they may be bigger, they may be faster, they may have the upper hand, they may have like the favor of, the coaches, whatever it is. And he said, you on the other hand, he said, you're not the fastest, you're not the strongest. He said, but you have something that they don't have. And I said, what's that? He said, you have a work ethic. That's the first
Wow.
time I heard that word. And so,
Did you know what it meant at the time?
I knew what work meant, but the ethic part of it, I really didn't understand where he was coming from with that, like work ethic, like what is, and so, but I kind of had an idea, like maybe he's talking about, the way I try to work hard. So
Hmm.
that's what
Yep.
I was in my mind.
Hmm.
And he said, I guarantee you, if you continue to work like you do, your hard work would outwork their talents, and you will get what you want. Well, I think he was talking to me on a level of achieving this on a high school level. But again, my dream was to play in the NFL. So when he said that to me, he said, your hard work will outwork their talents, and you'll get what you want if you continue to work. In my mind, I thought, if I continue to work, I'll go to the NFL. And so I just believed that from that point. And so it's like he lit a flame into me. It's almost like he gave me hope without
Yeah.
knowing that he gave me hope, you know. And so, man, it's almost like I got chills when he told me that. And
Yeah,
it was,
I've got chills right now hearing this story.
yeah, it was like personal, you know, because one of those, it's like a crossroad. We all have crossroads in our life, right? It was like one of them points. It was a defining moment in my life because I literally was about to quit the team and not come back. And, you know, I don't believe it was by mistake that I saw him when I saw him and we had that conversation. So that conversation changed. We talk about conversation, right? That conversation changed the whole trajectory of my path.
Yeah.
And it helped me to get back to believing, to get back to having faith, to get back to having hope. And from there, you know, if he or anybody else thought my work ethic was good, oh man, you should have saw it after he said that to me.
He just
You
took you
know,
to the next level, huh? Or
oh
you
my
took it to the
God,
next level.
I wanted it so bad. I was
Yeah.
working out with guys who were stronger than me, faster than me. I wanted it so bad, you know.
I just want to point out something real quick to the audience. The power of belief. So that coach, he woke up he inspired that belief in you, Johnathan.
Yeah.
And one of the ways he did it is he identified a talent that nobody else had identified in you before.
Yeah.
Right? And it's one thing to say, I believe in you. It's another thing to really identify one of somebody's talents and call that out. So what an amazing thing that coach did. And so what was it like? So you made a decision to go back to football. How are you dealing with the bullying at this point? Did it affect you differently?
Well, it was it was twofold because as I was a freshman, when you're a freshman and a sophomore, you're considered a young pup. But
Mm-hmm.
as time went on, and I went from being a freshman, a sophomore to a junior, the tide started turning, and
So that hard work was paying off.
yeah, and you can now that didn't mean that, like I said, it took me a minute to get to varsity. Like my senior year, most athletes, they get brought up their 10th grade year or 9th grade year to varsity and start playing in the playoffs, especially if their team goes to the playoffs, they're pulled up. For
Mm-hmm.
me, that didn't happen until my junior year. The first year I got pulled up was when we made it to the playoffs my junior year.
Okay.
But I didn't actually get around to starting on varsity until my senior year.
Got it. And that's I just want to commend you for that. So how many people do you think quit before their time? Right? We live in such an instant gratification society today. Everyone wants everything. They want immediate results. So you started playing as a freshman. It took you all the way to being a senior to be on the varsity team. You almost quit.
Yeah.
Luckily, you had that chance encounter with your coach. That was the universe at work. There was definitely some fate there.
Yeah, I mean,
you hung in there. So talk about that a little bit.
Man, it's so important not quitting before it's like not quitting early, because after he said what he said to me, it didn't get easier. In fact, it got more difficult as I went on. It got extremely difficult. It's probably like twice or three times more difficult. But I had already made up in my mind, based on what was said, that it didn't matter what I had to face. Like I'm going for it. And so I took this mindset, and man, you can ask my friends, and they saw it. I took this mindset that it didn't matter what anybody said about me or to me, negative or positive, because there was a lot of negative and there was a lot of positive. But I didn't really pay attention to any of it. I just kept going. I'm like, I would make these crazy catches in practice. And, my friends and everybody who was around it, they could attest to, like, it was some catches that I made that I'm not sure how I made them. But I didn't really celebrate much. I really didn't care. I just had this mindset of, uh, I'm just going to grind and continue to get better. I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And I have to be better. And, the whole time on the outside, there were people like, man, he's getting better and better and better. But me, I'm like, nope, it's not good enough. I got to be better. I got to be better. And
Yeah.
so it formed that habit in me. And I think not quitting was the best thing that I could have done, because it taught me how to, stay working and stay the course when life gets tough, because
Yeah.
it gets tough for all of us. But if you give up early, then the growth process, you hinder your own growth process. And so I realized that if I want to get what I want in my heart, what I dreamed of, really, there's no way around it. I have to go through the process. As hard as it may seem, if I want to get there, I got to go through the process. And whatever that entails, I'm ready for it. It might knock me down. It might make me, cry. It might, stress me a little here and there. It might give me, short-term doubts. It might make me second guess. But at the end of the day, I know that if I stay the course and I continue to plunge forward and work hard and work twice as hard, 3 times as hard, give it all I got, something's going to happen. I don't know when, I don't know at what point or what time, but something's going to happen. And at those moments where I felt like I wanted to give up or call it quits, that's when I would get like it's just like God dropped me, a certain blessing or a miracle in the path. And I'm like, oh, it gave me new energy to keep going. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, man.
Yeah, I know before when we've talked, you've mentioned faith a couple times. So you had that faith that kept you going. And I really love your mindset. You had such a strong belief in yourself. Nothing got you down, but at the same side, you didn't let things go to your head. You didn't get cocky. You stayed humble. You kept on working hard. You kept on raising your bar. So your senior year, you go from junior varsity to varsity. What was that transition like?
Man, it was like that was one of those, it's like miracles in the road, right? On the path. It was like night and day. I went from being basically the nobody, except for my friends knowing me, right? And not being such a popular kid, maybe popular in a different way, because I still was in the choir. I didn't stop participating in the choir until after the 10th grade, because that's when I started getting serious with football and running track and things like that.
Okay.
But senior year, it was night and day. But between my freshman year and junior year, I probably only scored, I can probably count on one hand the touchdowns I scored in those years. My senior year, I led my team with yards, catches, and touchdowns.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do you attribute that to?
Well, I attribute it to definitely God first. No matter what I do in life, I know that the abilities and the talents and the gifts that I have were not because I created them. It was because, I was created for a specific purpose, and I was gifted in specific areas, right? And so I do attribute that to God. Secondly, I attribute it to that um, work ethic that my coach was talking about. The Bible says faith without works is dead. So, I couldn't just have faith alone. I had to put something behind it because, for my muscles to get stronger, for me to take harder hits, for me to run faster, I had to put some work behind what I believed for it to start, turning in my favor. I had to grow in that process. So definitely work ethic. And then awesome supporting cast, starting with my mother. Uh, she was the first person who, gave me that hope that I could do anything in the world. And so, I remember her telling me when I was, very young, hey, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Just go do it. And I was just
Yeah.
like, okay, so I was a
Yeah.
kid. I was
Talk
at,
about a great gift from your mother.
yeah.
That sense of belief from a young age.
Oh man. Yeah. That's why I did so many things as far as like singing and comedy and
You do
football and stuff.
comedy too?
Oh man, that's what I say. We probably have to go live maybe a couple times.
Yeah, well, you got to get this book out so I can read the full story.
Yeah, in the NFL, we had to do a rookie show. You have to do the rookie show, and if our requirement was if the team doesn't laugh or doesn't think that your skits are funny, then you have to wake up earlier. Now you're already tired from practice, because
Yeah.
at this time before the collective bargaining agreement changed, we had those tour days. And so I'm like, oh no. I'm not waking up at no 4 a.m. because the team is not laughing. I'm like, oh, they gonna laugh. And they gonna laugh. They gonna
So,
laugh hard.
so Johnathan, I this is the first I've heard of this. So is this something all the rookies do, or are you doing it one at a time?
Yeah, it's all the rookies have to do it, and you get to pick and choose how you're gonna do it. Like the coach might have you do something on your own, and then you do something as a group.
Okay.
So yeah, it's different. You do stuff by yourself, you do skits by yourself, whether that's rapping or playing a guitar or showing some type of trick, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's more poetry because they'll boo you for that. The veterans,
Okay.
boo, you get booed off that thing. But yeah, it's pretty fun. It's all about team camaraderie, and it's
Oh,
a
cool.
team builder because it gets to show your teammates your other side of you, that you're more than just football. So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I've never
You
heard
might
of that before. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to your senior year. So all of a sudden you worked. It caught up with you. Finally started seeing the results,
Yes, sir.
catching a lot of passes, scoring a lot of points. Were you recruited from, like, what was going on with recruitment and your
Yeah.
transition from high school to college?
So this is crazy because I wasn't. My friends were more savvy, and they were more savvy about, okay, I want to go to this college and, recruitment and all that type of stuff. Me, I didn't really know how that process was going to be. I didn't feel like I deserved like a scholarship or anything like that. I didn't think to myself, oh, I'm going to sign as a commit to UT or one of these big schools. No, that was not in my thinking. And
Mm-hmm.
so really I was hoping and praying that I at least had an opportunity, that football wouldn't end with high school, and that somehow I could play it on the college level. And that opportunity happened when a young guy walked into the cafeteria one of my lunch periods. And he walked up to me. He said, "Hey, Johnathan Haggerty." And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can I talk to you for a second?" And this is around where everybody is announcing what schools they're going to and things like that. And, I really didn't announce what school that I was going to because I didn't have any offers at that point. And so I was just really watching all the other seniors and things like that. And so he sat down. He said, "Hey, I'm from Southwestern Oklahoma. I'm the, recruiting coordinator, and we've been looking at, your film, and we definitely want to make you an offer to come up and compete for a spot on our team." And so I had never flown on a plane at this point. I had never been out of Texas at this point.
Okay.
And so I said, "Okay, well, I'll talk it over with my mom and my family, and we'll, we'll see what's what." And so when I told my mom and my family, I come from a single parent household. That's why I'm not mentioning my dad, right?
Okay.
So I told my mom and my sisters, my sister, and just on my supporting cast, my sister was like, I remember, I never will forget. She said, "You don't need to go where everyone else is going. You need to go where you can focus and do what you
Older
do."
sister or younger sister?
Older sister. I have one.
Okay.
And so when she told me that, it was like one of those defining moments, right? That was number two. She said,
Yeah.
And then my mom told me as well. She said, "It's an opportunity." I like that word, opportunity. I'm a fan of the word opportunity. I think it was during that time where I really became a fan of the word opportunity. That's one of my favorite words. The reason being is I feel like I can't do anything if you don't give me an opportunity. But if you give me an opportunity, I'm going to make good on it. So all I need is an opportunity.
I love that.
That's like a motto of my life, the work ethic and the opportunity. Like, if you give me an opportunity, I'm going to make good on it.
Yeah. And it's that work ethic that allows you, that prepares you for the opportunity, right?
There you go. Yes, sir. So I took that opportunity, and I thought it out. I said, this is the only team who came to me and offered me an opportunity, which another one of my coaches, he was telling me about another college. Well, it was actually three coaches. They were telling me about three different other colleges after the fact. And so one of the colleges was Toledo.
Mm-hmm. That's in Ohio?
Yeah. And, they run a spread system that, if you're a receiver, oh my God, you can eat. But I really didn't know Toledo, like in my mind, I didn't know what Toledo was. I knew it was a college.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I wasn't sure. Now, knowing how college football is, I'm like, oh man, that was, I had he was talking about an opportunity trying to get me, to Toledo. Man, that could have been good as well. And then also Auburn, that was, a possibility as well. But the clear-cut opportunity was the coach who came down, who met me face to face, who looked me in the eye and said, "We have an opportunity for you." Even though he said that their team went 1-10 the previous year. I said 10-1. He said 1-10, but we feel strongly about you coming. I said, And so he said, we're losing 2 seniors, and you can come right in and compete for a spot. And I said, So I took that opportunity.
Okay.
And, it's like, I think that during that period, the theme of everything was coming out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I had to come all the way. Everything about going to college and playing college football in another state, away from my family, away from the inner city, to the country, isolation. Everything was about coming out of my comfort zone. But
Yeah.
again, like I said before, whatever it takes for me to get to my goal, I guess I'm going to have to do that. I guess this is where I'm at. It's okay.
Yeah.
I got out of my comfort zone. So that
So
was that.
hey, Johnathan, just real quick. So from 10 years old, 10 years old, you had your dream. You wanted to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Was it to play for the Dallas Cowboys or just play in the NFL?
Absolutely. It
Okay.
was,
So you had this dream.
Number one, it was to play in the NFL.
Okay.
And because the Cowboys were the first team that I saw, I did want to play for the Cowboys, because everyone around me loved the Cowboys. When I went to school, I remember walking down the hallway and seeing like the 5th graders with these Emmitt Smith jerseys, or Deion Sanders, Troy Aikman. And I remember vividly the Emmitt Smith jersey, and I turned around and looked at, I'm probably in the 4th or the 3rd grade, or whatever grade I was in. But I remember turning around looking like, man, that's not, like, I want to do that. And so it's just like constant reminders. So go ahead.
I was just going to, so along the way, did your dream change, or was it pretty much the same dream as you were growing up? Now you're in college.
Well, as I matured, I realized that the closer I got, to fighting for the NFL, it was all about the opportunity.
Okay.
Because it's like, the process of getting to the NFL, the team that wants you is going to select you.
Right.
Now, the high priority guys, like your top 10 draft picks, which I was not a top 10 or any. I wasn't even in the draft. That's another part of the story. But your high priority guys, they probably have have a little bit more leverage. But again, if it's a team that's lost and has the worst record, they always have the first pick. So if they reach out to you and that you've had a great college career, it will be unwise to say no to this team who is trying to give you this opportunity and invest so much, and potentially you could be the first pick in the draft, or top 10. So at that point in college, where my freshman, sophomore year, I was just working for an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Working for an opportunity. And I had another crossroads moment to where when I came to the school, my coach, my freshman football, my college coach, head coach, he said, we only dress out 6 receivers and we only travel 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm looking at probably 15 or 20 receivers,
Okay. Wow.
for camp. And he said, we only dress out 6. 6 only make it on the team. And we only travel 3. And I'm like, I'm from Dallas and I'm in Oklahoma. There ain't no way that I'm not traveling. And, because there's a possibility of you being a red shirt if you're not ready. And so I'm like, that's not an option. I got to make this team, and I got to be the starter, and I got to travel. And
So
so
what's forgive my ignorance, what is a red shirt?
a red shirt is when they say you're not ready to be out there. We're gonna take a year to continue to develop you.
Okay.
A
So
medical
you
red shirt.
practice with a team, but you're never going to play for
Well,
that year.
No. You're not. Yeah. If they pull your red shirt, then you're not going to play that year.
Okay, gotcha.
So, and the other one is a medical red shirt. Is if you get injured your first year, and you really can't play for the season, then you don't lose a year, so they give you a medical red shirt, so you can still have 4 years starting the next year. So
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, I definitely I earned the starting position, and I
That's
became
awesome.
the leader in yards, catches, and touchdowns that year. In my first year, I was a true freshman, and that means when you start, like you're ready to play with the big boys. And so in my first game, I had I think two touchdowns, 2 or 3 touchdowns for
Wow.
4 catches. One of them was an 80-yard bomb against one of the best defensive backs in our conference, who also went to the NFL.
Yeah, good for you.
Well, yeah, he was a senior. So,
So how'd that feel your first game, just
oh
going
man,
out and killing it?
oh my God, I can still remember the pass that my quarterback threw to me. Oh my God, it was sweet. It was sweet because
Wow.
it was a road game, and think about it. The previous year, our team went 1-10. So think about the mindset of the people at the college, where your team is a suck team, and then you have to go on the road. Nobody's really expecting the team to win. And then
Mm-hmm.
they get the news that not only did we win in overtime, but it's the first win of the season. And, so, oh yeah.
And on the road. Wow, that's
Oh
amazing.
my God. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what was the record for the first year when you were a freshman?
That's when we got above 600. We were above 500. I'm sorry. We went 6-5 my first year there. So it went from
What a
1-10.
turnaround. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, everybody was raving about it. Like I wanted more. I wanted playoffs and a championship, but it takes a lot of time to build something. And so, yeah, I led the team in receiving, and I made all conference my freshman and sophomore year and senior year. Junior year, I think I had an injury, and so I only played. There was a couple games I missed, and so didn't make all conference that year. But when it was all said and done, when I came to the college, I said I want to leave here with having the record of yards, catches, touchdowns, and I accomplished that. And then my degree was in exercise science as well. So, and then our senior year, we went, I think it was 1-10 again, or 3 and whatever. And from there, I was kind of frustrated because I felt like, man, I did, like I came all this way, and I really hope it's not over. You know that feeling where you're like,
Yeah.
man. And we didn't make the playoffs, so I felt like, they probably won't even look at this school, and it's not a Division I school, it's a small school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking, man, it could possibly be over. And from there, I had a conversation with my uncle, who's a minister, and he's been very instrumental in my life. And he said, he said to me, just as sure as day, he said, he said, nephew, it ain't over. He said, you're going to the NFL.
Oh yeah.
So I guess that was the
So what was going through your head when he's telling? So you're kind of thinking, we didn't have a great last season.
Yeah.
You're kind of thinking it's over. Your uncle's like, it's not over.
Yeah, he's like, how when you're like, okay, that's all right. I gave it all I had, and this is what it is, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. I guess what I dreamed, it's probably not going to happen, but I want it. Don't get me wrong, I always wanted it to happen, right?
Yeah.
But when he called me, he said, nephew, he said, how you doing? I said, the season's over. We went 1-10 and this and that, and he said, oh, it ain't over for you. You think it's over? He said, no, you going to the NFL. I remember it clear as day. I'm sitting in my room, and I'm like, I'm listening because, when my uncle has prayed over me or talked, about anything spiritual, he hasn't missed on it. And so, although I had, thoughts in my head like, how in the world, and then knowing what I know about football and how it goes, like, okay, if the season is over, we didn't make the playoffs, we went 1-10.
Yeah.
That's over with, and the NFL doesn't start until next year, and then the players go to the draft. But I'm from a small school, and so it's like you're telling me right now that I'm going to the NFL, and it's far from over.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't say nothing. I said, okay. And so we prayed about it, and he said, God's going to take you to the NFL. And so it was just like the conversation with my coach, where he said, if you continue your hard work, it will pay off and you'll get what you want. So he lit another flame in me, because you see how it's at the end of the journey, you're fighting so hard, and you're just tired. You're like, man, it's over. And then it's like God sent my uncle and lit a new flame in me. I'm like, what? And so, sure enough, 2 weeks after that, I got an email, and it said, Johnathan Haggerty, you've been invited to the East Coast Bowl in Virginia. I had never flown on a plane. And I looked, I said, is this, because how when you get mail, most of the time you're cleaning out your inbox and you don't want to delete. And so I looked, I'm like, is this what I think it is? And so I said, okay. So I flew to Virginia. Let me back up. So this is why one of the reasons where my uncle was so sure, because he said, God showed me. He said, I had a dream that you played in this game. That's why it was so crazy for me, right? He said, I had a dream that you played in this game, and after the game, there were NFL scouts, and he said, I saw you, at your locker, you had your uniform on, and this scout was talking to you, or NFL team was talking to you. He didn't say scout. He said NFL team was talking to you.
Okay.
And I'm like listening to him, like, what are you talking about? I'm like, now I know you, in my mind, I'm like, now I know you believe in God and we believe in God, but what type of dream, what have you ate? I'm thinking all this in my mind. But he said after the game, there was an NFL coach, or it looked like a coach or a scout talking to you. And I'm just listening. I didn't really say nothing the whole time, because I'm like absorbing all this. And after that, he said, that's when he said, you're going to the NFL. He said, you better believe it. And so it lit that flame in me. Although I
Yeah.
was quiet, it lit another flame. And so, fast forward two weeks later, I got the email, flew out to Virginia, played in that All-Star game. After the game, there was about probably 10 or 15 NFL scouts there. After the game.
Did you score in that game?
No, I had two catches. Like a seam route and then like a hitch route but it was, I think I had 2 or 3 catches, but they were nice catches.
Okay.
So after that, I get my stuff, and there were guys who scored touchdowns, and they, with the opportunities that you get, because you can't choose when you get the ball or what your opportunity is going to be,
right?
And so I just went into the situation like I did any other. Hey, this is what's in front of me. I'm gonna do my best.
Yeah.
And so
opportunity.
After the game, players are, during the whole process, players, are talking about, this scout talked to this player, this scout talked to that player. And, it's, you want, you basically want that to happen to you. And so like for me, I wasn't really worried about it. I was just like, hey, in my mind, I'm like, it is what it is. I see the scouts talking to, this player or that player. I can't worry about that. I'm just going to play. And if they talk to me, they talk to me. If they don't, hey, get on the plane and go back, fly back to my college. And, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so after the game, I had on my uniform and I was getting ready to take it off. And the Jacksonville Jaguars said, Johnathan Haggerty. And I looked, and he started talking to me and asking me questions. And as soon as he started talking, it dawned on me what my uncle said. I saw you after you played in the game. After this game, a scout was talking to you. Look, he said it seemed like an NFL team was talking to you. And as the scout is talking to me, I was like, just trying to absorb it all. I'm like, wow. And the reason why my uncle spun my head, and I really say it's God, is because when he said I was playing in a game and then an NFL scout was talking to me, I'm like, okay, I just finished college football, so it couldn't be that, because that's over. The NFL doesn't start, and it doesn't start till next year. So you're saying you saw me playing in a game, and then a scout is talking to me, or a coach, like that doesn't add up if a scout is talking to me. So I'm like thinking in my mind, what game could you possibly be talking about? And it was that All-Star game. And so I was like, wow. And that was, it's kind of like, that was also at that period, that was, I think that was the beginning where God really started to deal with me on a more personal level. Things started to happen in my life, to where I see God moving in my life. And so played in that game, and things just started unfolding from there. When I got back, I did another pro day at another school. That's a whole nother, man. That was amazing. And then on draft day, Cleveland Browns were the ones who invited me to camp. So I got that opportunity.
All right, so how did that feel?
Man, it felt so good. There's something I don't want to say, but I'll leave it out because that's going to go in the book. But it felt good, but another word in my life is also focus. I still felt like, okay, this is an opportunity, but I still have to put my work ethic, and I still have to focus on, I can't be all caught in the moment because I haven't really I haven't really did anything. Haven't made, so while the outside world was, wow, I'm like, it's time to get to work,
Yeah.
you know, catch your breath, because it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different
Hmm.
level. Now you
Yeah.
got to work twice, 3 times as harder. So that was my mind frame. Just
So what,
focus.
let me just ask you this. What did your mother say when you told her?
My mom is where I get a lot of my personality from, and she's just so humble. A lot of people say that I'm humble and just a cool guy to be around and funny. I get that from my mom, and she was just cool about it. Like she's like super proud of me. It's like one of those moments to where I think back when I wanted to play in the NFL as a little kid. I'm running around the house, and she's like, "Yeah, whatever you want to do, do it." And then now, fast forward, it's happening, and she's looking at me. She's like, "I didn't think anything different, like, yeah, go do it." So it's like, she didn't change a bit. She's like, "Okay,
Yeah.
time
Cool.
to go do it." Yeah, she's like, I, you know, mama's baby, right? My baby. Yeah, my. She looked at me with the look like, did you expect anything different? Like, you're my child. You're talented. I know what you're capable of. So it
Yeah.
was not at all surprising for her.
Right. Yeah. She
Yes.
always had that belief. She
Yeah.
instilled that belief in you. And it was just like, yeah.
Yeah. It was like, she's just going about her day to day. She's super proud, and we had a personal conversation, a heart to heart, and things, on a deep level. But uh, yeah, she believes in me, and that's I think that's very important for any child when their parent really believes in them and encourages them and nurtures the faith that you have and supports that. I think that's um, very important to a child's journey. And so, yeah, I had that full support, like, no matter what, even throughout all the tough times. And even tough times are a part of life in every phase. And so, yeah, I always have that there with her. So yeah, it felt really good.
That's awesome. So Cleveland Browns, they draft you. What was
Brownies,
that? Tell me about that first game. What was that like?
undrafted. I went undrafted. You said the first game?
Yeah. Wait, so what does that mean, undrafted?
So that means that, so uh, in the draft, there are only 7 rounds. And then after that, whoever didn't get drafted in those 7 rounds, they invite you to camp, and you come
Okay.
in as an undrafted free agent. So now you're a free agent, but
Okay.
they say, okay, we want to bring you up or bring you wherever, fly you to California, wherever it is. And basically you come to camp and you show up, you show out, showcase, you might make the team. So undrafted.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Got it.
that's what
Okay.
happened. So yeah, um, it was surreal, man. At the end of the day, it's twofold for me, because I always felt that I belonged there. I felt like this is what I want. This is where I want to be. But when you're there, it's like, man, like I'm really walking in this building. I really got on this uniform. I'm really on this practice field where Jim Brown, and part of an organization where Jim Brown and all these guys were a part of, Josh Cribbs that's really my teammate. So it feels good. And then you put on that uniform, and my first game was against Green Bay Packers, and I never will forget. Because you're grinding, right? Work ethic, right? You're grinding, and you don't have much time to soak it all in because you're at work. You're trying to showcase and make the team, so you got to stay focused.
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't. Social media was non-existent. I really didn't care for it. Articles were written on me, like positive articles of how well that I'm doing, and people would call me. We heard about this, you're tearing it, and I would bring it all down and filter it.
Yeah. Stayed humble, huh?
Yeah, because that playbook is like a phone book, and it coming in a situation similar to what happened in college. The NFL coaches, they only keep at that point 6 receivers, and they only travel 3 or 3 or 4. So here I am in the same position, and now I'm amongst great talent.
Yeah.
And I seen, in this process from mini camp all the way to OTAs and preseason, like that's a long stretch from February to August. I've seen, at that point, good and great receivers get cut from the team. I'm like, man, they cut that guy. So you ain't got a lot of time to be, I'm in the NFL, everything's sweet.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm grinding.
You got to keep your head down and stay focused.
Yeah,
keep
you
up that
gotta
work
keep your
ethic.
head down, because you could be wearing that uniform one day, and then they come to your locker the next day like, hey, turn it in. So it's like,
Yeah.
So for me, I was just laser focused. And it wasn't until the first preseason game to where I kind of had a little breath of relief. And I looked in the mirror, and that's the first time I saw myself in, the first time I put on the actual NFL game uniform. And I looked in the mirror at myself, and I kind of probably stared for 5 or 10 seconds at myself. Like,
yeah.
And it's like I had a flashback from when I was a kid, and flashback to when I was going to quit football in the 10th grade and never do it again. And just thinking, like, I really have on this uniform.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was crazy. That gave
Your
me
dream came true.
Yeah. And then, my first game was against Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field. Historical, man. So, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful. It's,
Yeah.
I'm still in disbelief, man. Not disbelief. And don't get me wrong, I have faith, but, just the whole journey. And I think one of the greatest things is the person that I became through the journey in the process. I think that's more than making it to the NFL and living that dream. It's the person that I became through that process, because that's formed my character. And so I take that mindset, with me, and that character with me wherever I go, with the people who've taught me, the people who've believed in me, my faith, all of it, goes together, and that makes me who I am today. And it's not the NFL made me who I am, but it's the process of believing and having faith, and faith for your dreams and going for it. That process of refining, the Bible says the test of gold is fire. That's how you know that gold is authentic. It has to be put in the furnace. And so I believe that the testing that I had in my upbringing, in the inner city, being in a single parent household, having to deal with the things and overcome and continuously overcome, that was the fire that was placed on me.
Yeah.
And by the time everything caught up, because I'm looking at my goal, and I think, oh man, the fire was too hot and I'm burned up. When I really look at the reflection in that mirror before I go in the field, it's like you're not looking at something that was burned up because the fire was put on it. You're looking at shining gold. I think that's what that moment was. So man, oh man, I'm just grateful. I'm
Yeah.
grateful. I'm grateful for the process and the journey. I'm grateful.
Mm.
And for the health, the health and having a sound mind and not having a crazy, brain injury and things like that, because it's a very rewarding game, but it's a very violent game.
Yeah,
You that have
100%.
the brain expert knows that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've told my son, he's only 3. He's already into sports. Just like, you can't play football.
Yeah.
No offense to football players out there, but it's rough and you get your brain banged up a lot. But Johnathan, that's so key. It's the journey that shapes you. So it wasn't you playing in the NFL that made you the man you are today, but everything you had to do along the way to get there.
Absolutely.
And so I think so many people kind of lose sight of their own life journeys and the lessons that life is trying to teach them. And if you don't learn that lesson, guess what? You're going to keep getting that lesson, and it's going to get harder and harder until you
Absolutely.
figure it out.
Absolutely.
And you better
And,
be prepared. You better be prepared for that opportunity, or you're
it's
going to get knocked
amazing.
down.
It's amazing that you said that, because you made me think about, you're right. If you don't pass the test, you're going to get the test again. But when you when you pass that test and you go to the next level, you're going to have a bigger test in the same way. So I saw that the tests that I had before me, they never stopped coming, even till today. For any of us, they never stopped coming. The more growth you have, then you're going to have a bigger test on a level to force you to grow to another level, and then you're going to have a test on that level. So it's just a part of life. It's a part of the process. So absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And the other thing is we have to keep on raising that bar, right? You never get there. There's no there. We're constantly trying to move to that destination, but if we're doing it right, it's continually moving, and it's continually moving up. And there might be some valleys along the way. You definitely you went through a lot of valleys, right? But you can't get into a valley and just think, I'm done, I can't go on anymore. That's when you double down.
And that's what when you talk about valleys, if you're dreaming for something big, and if you're going to accomplish anything big in life, yeah, there will be valleys. But the valleys are necessary. Every great person, every human in history, if you look at the greatness that they've done, I guarantee you they had a painful experience, or deep valley experience of darkness, or whatever it was in their life. Every single person. It's just a part of the process. So it's like, you don't need to run away from the valleys. It's not that you have to embrace the valley or want to be in the valley, but just know that it's a part of the process, and you will come out of the valley. And when you come out of the valley, that's probably one of the most rewarding feelings in life, because it magnifies your faith twice, 3, 4 times as much. You're like, I came out of that.
Yeah.
I came out of that. Oh man, ain't nothing nobody can throw it. Throw it at me. I'm really. If I came out of that, which I thought that was gonna end me, I thought that was it. I thought the story was over. Can you imagine the amount of hope and the amount of vigor and the amount of enthusiasm? I'm ready. So
Yeah.
those experiences in my life, to where I had those valley experiences, and I got that light of hope, that ray of hope, that word of hope, where someone spoken to me, and then I went to another level. It just produced more faith. Oh man. And that's when it gets good, because you start to realize that it's not so much about football or the game of football or whatever it is you're achieving. It's about who you're becoming by the talents and things, what you're passionate about, what you're gifted as. Who are you becoming? You're becoming a better person. You're becoming stronger. You're becoming wiser. You're becoming more mature. You're growing. And you're inspiring other people. You're giving other people hope. And if anything, I'm a person who, I'm a motivator. I'm an encourager. I'm someone who loves to, tell people that you can do it and give them hope, because I know the power of faith. I know the power of belief. I know the power of someone speaking a good word to you. I know what it can do, because had I not heard those words that I heard, then I may have never been in that uniform. I may never have gotten to that level. So
Right.
yeah. So now when I talk to people, and when I talk to them and encourage them, I'm confident about it, because I know it works. I know it works. I know it. No one can say, oh, no. I know it works, because it's worked several times and it's still working.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. Johnathan, great story. I had a bunch of other points to hit on, but I think, we've been going for a while. I think we'll have to have a part 2.
Yeah, part
Cover
2.
some of your other things. I know, just real quick, I know you have a big event coming up called The Conversation. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
You want to share about that real quick?
Yeah. So, I'll say it like this: the gifts that God has placed in us doesn't end with, a career or a job loss or whatever, or a transition. Like, the gifts that you have, they will still they will follow you all your life. So, I'm a motivator. I'm passionate. Whether I'm on a team and it's wartime as far as football. Time to be about that business. Um, or whether it's motivating others through working out. So fitness, you talk about my journey of playing in the NFL. That also birthed my love for fitness and just working out, because you got to be in the best shape. You got to eat right, and treat your bodies right. So over time, I've done those things, and so I'm able to encourage people and motivate people. So the conversation is an event to where I collaborate with Miss Tammy Kling, and she's an amazing book editor and author. She has her own book company, to where she writes for a lot of Fortune 500 CEOs, millionaires, billionaires, you name it.
Okay.
You'll see her, in videos with Richard Branson and just, pictures. She does a TEDx. She's did, TED Talks. You name it. And so she has this event called The Conversation, where she invites 100 world changers from all over the world, whether it be
cool.
millionaires, billionaires, CEOs, professional athletes. So golf legend Chichi Rodriguez, and just NBA players, business owners, and you have a conversation just about how you've had success. Sort of like what we're doing, but on a larger scale with like a mastermind group. And there's food, there's just videos and just spoken word, all those different things, music, you name it.
You gonna be singing?
Huh?
Are you gonna be singing?
I actually sang at the one before last. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
cool. Nice.
Yeah. It was pretty dope. And then, so this year she's having it at the new Dallas Cowboys facility, the Star in Frisco. So it's a very nice location. And so she's going to have a workout involved with that. And so she reached out to yours truly to collaborate, and I'm super excited. So I get to work out 100 world changers and motivate and pour in some love and inspiration, motivation and education. You did? So
that sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, tons of fun. So I'm looking forward to that.
Good. So where can people find you? Do you have a website?
Yeah, I have an Instagram. Well, I'm in the process of working on my new website. I used to have my other one, but I'm revamping everything. So I'm in the process of doing that with my other business. And then, but right now you can find me on Facebook, Johnathan Haggerty, or you can find me on Instagram. That's probably where I post the most.
Okay.
It's in the lab working. So
In the lab working.
In the lab working. Yep.
Cool. Okay.
Yep. In the lab working. So WORKIN. So INTHELAB WORKIN.
Okay. I'm gonna check that out. Cool.
Yep. And then Instagram. I'm sorry. What is it? Twitter. I rarely post on there. Twitter, Royal_HAGG. And then LinkedIn, Royal Haggerty. So
awesome. Well, go on, check out Johnathan or Royal's Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Sounds like Instagram's the main place to go though for you, right?
Yeah, that's why I love to post the most, because I do a lot of workout videos. And,
oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, workout videos and things like that. And so I have a broader audience on there, and I like to post pictures and stuff like that. So inspiration type stuff, workout challenges and my members. So yeah, we're in the lab working.
In the lab working. I will check it out. Hey, well, Johnathan, it's been a pleasure. You are, I love your humility. You are such a genuine person. And I love your story. I mean, throughout the story, I was getting chills many times. And it's very inspirational.
Appreciate it, man. All glory to God, man. All glory to God. It's inspirational to me as well. My story gives me hope. I don't know how, it's crazy how God works things. But yeah, man, I'm glad I could be an inspiration to you. And let me know the next time you want to do a live, and if you're in Dallas and you want to get in that lab with me, you want to work out, we can do part 3. Part 3 will be the workout. You got to get to Dallas.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
cool. Well, I love steak. I know you guys have great steak down there. So.
Oh yeah. Plenty of it down here.
All right. Johnathan, been a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir.